Hi, I'm Larry of YouDoLoveMe.com, the place to learn about God's benevolence. I'd like to chat with you a moment about your design to withstand extreme amounts of happiness. God's building project for happiness number 2, the happiness you were made for. I'd first like to clarify something about the kind of happiness that I'm talking about. There's a kind of happiness, a human happiness, that's temporary. These are passing experiences of a sense of self-satisfaction or self-sufficiency. These aren't the kind of happiness that I'm talking about here. God's happiness is very different from man-made temporary pleasure. When you experience God's happiness, no one loses and no one suffers. It's never at someone's expense. In fact, it's a happiness principle you'll want to mark down. God's happiness benefits everyone it touches. God's happiness is not easily upset by life's circumstances. That's because it runs deeper than the troubles of life, because it interlocks with your physical structure. When you receive God's happiness, it enters into your innermost soul and completes and heals your body. In other words, it builds itself on the foundation of your being and is designed to withstand the pressures of life. The design for experiencing God's happiness is found at the deepest level of your being. A lot has been said about creation reflecting God's character. And it's true, the closer you look at creation, the more you realize it wasn't just by chance. It's almost obvious. If something didn't happen by chance, then it had to happen by design. To be sure, creation reflects God's perfect character. But there's something more about creation that's even more important. It shows God is benevolent and caring enough to take the time and trouble to fashion each one of us with the faculties to enjoy His happiness as living, conscious, individual people. Remember I mentioned that in the ancient world a chorus was on hand to sing while the foundation was laid? Well, there's more to the story, and the story gets better. As the foundation was laid, the builder would use a stamp made of stone to mark every brick of the foundation with a message. That message would explain why the building was built. As the foundation was laid, this important piece of information literally became part of the building itself. As the years passed and the building changed hands, the builder's permanent message would still be there, stamped on each foundation brick. If everyone or anyone wanted to know what the original purpose of the building was, all they had to do was to look at an exposed edge of the foundation brick. The message was in plain view for all to see. The order and wonder of our planet, its ability to restore just the right amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide through increased plant growth, the ability of a thunderstorm to cool the hot afternoon air, the never-ending cycle of water purification, is all for the purpose of maintaining a place where God can share His happiness. Like the message stamped on the brick's foundation, God stamped His reason for creating us on every foundation stone of our being. That message reminds us that God had a greater purpose in mind than just proving He was good at creating. He stamped His message and encoded it into every cell of our body. It resonates in our nervous system. It says, "Hey, I want you guys to share my happiness. Are you with me on this?" Like the stamped foundation brick we talked about earlier, your DNA also carries on it the very message of happiness. I'll do you one better. The message says that His happiness in your life is to be ongoing and increasing. Your DNA is our Creator's stamp, His encoded message that we carry in every cell of our body, every neuron of our brain. It says, "You were designed for my happiness. I designed you to share in my joy, not as robots, but as free men." Remember I mentioned that neurologists tell us that our nervous system is designed to withstand extreme amounts of happiness? We were literally hardwired for happiness. The stamp of his happiness intention permeates all of our being, right down to our DNA. In fact, the DNA of every natural living creature. Thinking about your nervous system, it's like a network of stringed musical instruments. Like the instrument strings of an orchestra that vibrate together to create beautiful music. When you get around happiness, your nervous system literally picks up the happy vibes, and your nervous system resonates with happiness also. For example, ever been around someone who started laughing about something that was truly humorous? What eventually happened? Everyone around started laughing too, didn't they? Why? Why is that? The answer is because God designed your body and nervous system to experience happiness. That's why. Why is this so important? Because unhappiness goes against the grain of our being, and it saps us of energy when we're unhappy. Think of it like the builder of the ancient world stamping every brick of the foundation with this message. God stamped every cell of your body with his message. Whether you experience God's happiness or not is your choice, but God's happiness is what you were made for. Well, that's about it for understanding that happiness was stamped on your foundation bricks. God's happiness in your life is what should come natural. Remember, God's happiness is a happiness you were made for. In the meantime, be sure to visit youdolove.me.com, the place to learn about God's benevolence.